Welcome back, John Filatovich for you. And today with me, there is a special person that I first dreamt of, and then I met him. And this is teacher, and normally you would say spiritual teacher, but that's not the case. I would say multidimensional teacher. Please meet Rafał Wereżyński. Welcome.
Hello.
We are going to talk about spiritual growth, traps that can await for you on the path of your spiritual evolution, progress, process, and a little bit about you, about your personal path, because you went through practically every stage of personal development and consciousness, and you started to most of the people start from suffering. They are internally forced to look for something more outside of them in order to grow or find some qualities within themselves. But you started from being happy. How that was possible?
I looked for absolute truth. I wanted the truth, and in my search, I accumulated knowledge, information, different courses, and out of all those information, I saw that I can start to. I felt happier, and I wanted to teach people how to be happy. So I started to write a book about happiness, and it felt great. I felt like I was on the top of the game. And then I met the message that is known as A Course in Miracles that collapsed all my spiritual growth until that point. I mean, my ego, everything that the ego accumulated in the spiritual growth had to go. So all the false happiness had to go, because it was still based on the externals, or on trying to be happy within the illusion of separation. And so I had to be disrupted in that. So then I went, thanks to the course, to into a disruption of my idea of happiness. So then it wasn't that comfortable, of course, because I had to let go of everything that I believed until that point. And yes, and then my journey went on for several years through the course.
You gave a number of courses all over the world. You were a teacher in Wisconsin and Poland and other countries. And since you went through all that path, and you get a grip on your spiritual path, you became a teacher that a lot of people actually got inspired. And there were some healings going on. I heard about few. So what happened that you discovered something more? You let go, of course, of miracles, if I may say so. Not you never rejected it, but you let go. You went another path. What happened?
I discovered that every message is just a tool that can be helpful, but it cannot become an idol in itself. And the course for me was, for many years, like the epitome of the spiritual awakening, like the best ultimate truth. And I was comparing it with other messages in that sense, even sometimes unknowingly. But then I realized that it is just a message that points to the truth. I cannot make an idol out of it, and I cannot just be narrowed down or limited to the concepts of the course. Of course, some people devote their life to the teaching that message or a different kind of message, and that's okay too. But for me, I needed to find a more universal language of the heart. So if I stayed with the course as the main teaching tool, for me, it would be like establishing myself in a certain spiritual identity, and the course itself teaches let go of any identity, spiritual identity, and just
You let Course in Miracles.
including the Course in Miracles, just let go of all the concepts, and I had to do it with the course itself as well, and that led me to a greater freedom, because now I can speak and teach similar things that the course teaches, but straight from the heart. My language is more universal, and it's not only based on Christian terms or that are used in the course. What helped me to make that step was a different message that I came across, that's called the Way of Mastery, and that helped me go more to my heart, open my heart, and let go of the mind, the grip of the mind on the spiritual awakening, because the course was more directed to the mind training, or the abstract concepts of the course are very attractive to the mind, and they are great, but there is a trap. One of the traps in spiritual growth is to hold on to the concepts, hold on to the concept, hold on to make a certain message a religion almost, and try to do things conceptually. And the idea of the course, or any genuine spiritual teaching, is to let go of any concept. So I had to let go of the concept of the course, or the mind hold on my spiritual awakening. So the heart can be a director, not the intellectual mind of my.
Talk about it like it's easy thing, but you were teaching numbers of years Course in Miracles. So seeing that it's not something easy for someone who believes in the concept. It's like someone believes in Christianity, on God, or and then one day you let that go.
Yeah, it is not easy. Thanks for pointing that out, because it is actually
you were Course in Miracle basically when I met you.
Sorry?
You were representing Course in Miracle very strongly.
Yes, and that may be a nice trap to stay within a certain identity, which I had. I was very known in Poland. I could easily gather gatherings of a lot of people.
Were after you.
Sorry?
Even some priests, I heard, were after you.
Well, that's a different kind of publicity that we got too. That people, not everyone liked us, but there were a lot of supporters, a lot of people that, really were keen on the course, and really that was the course. At a certain point became popular. So if I continued on as a teacher, I probably would have a lot of people. Excuse me?
You create a religion, you were giving the good news. On these courses, a lot of things were happening, and I joined a few, and people were really happy just being there. They don't know why they keep on coming back. And they were telling that they were not feeling that happiness when they're going to the church. So of course, yeah.
So it worked. Everything that I did within those 18 or 19 years of teaching the course, it worked. It helped a lot of people, but part of the spiritual growth is the ability to let go of what you've learned so far, and really even not being afraid of change, even a complete change of attitude, identity, you know, how you present yourself, even if it seems to be contradictory, you know, it seems to people like you change your mind completely, but if you are not basing your worth on what people think, it's okay to change, and that's actually a great thing that I feel, for example, like I would be living many lives within this one lifetime. Like there's so many things has changed for me, but it's just only deepening. Like it's not really rejecting, as you pointed out. I didn't reject the course because it's ingrained in my cells and in you know, in my memory, and I love it. But I don't have to teach, like quoting it or basing my identity on it. I can just speak directly from the heart, and this is fun, and it's.
I would like to sum it up because you talk about those traps, but I just would like to make sure that it's obvious for everyone. It's a big deal actually to let go of something that is sort of, you know, idol or God, and people worship and believe so strong some people are ready to kill for it. And another one, when you let go, a lot of people can fall into another trap. They reject it. You didn't reject it. You sort of embrace it and transform it and continue to move with it.
Yes, because the idea of rejection is the idea of, you know, being right and other people being wrong, and or trying to convince yourself or others that this is the better way. But if you just use the tool or use the practice because it's useful for you, but you don't think it's better than something else, then you see that someone can use completely different tool and speak about the same thing. So it's like it's not exclusive, me using this practice, someone else using the other practice, and also not excluding but including things. It's part of I think the genuine spirituality, because and it's the opposite of the spiritual trap. Is one of the spiritual traps would be to exclude certain things, thinking that you know, they're not true. My truth is better than someone else's truth.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, and if I live in the what I call the paradox of awakened life, I can say that none of the human perceptions are true, and then I can say this is true, and this that seems to be the opposite of it is true as well. Like say, for example, the idea of being here and not being here. For me, in my realization, I know that I'm not a body. I'm not really contained in the body. I'm not here. I'm spirit. I'm free. But in the same time, that's the paradox. I feel more here, more present than when I was trying to escape from the body. When I was trying at some point to find spiritual happiness in a different place, in an ecstasy or spiritual transcendental meditation. But if I'm more here, more present, I can actually bring heaven and earth together. I can literally discover that by being more present here, I even discover the boundless, limitless life that's not contained in the matter. So it's like, yeah, being here and not being here in the same time. The paradox that's incomprehensible for the human perception, and yet you can live it.
Yeah, that is also a big transition for someone who was looking ultimate truth, absolute truth, and then you can embrace all of the truth and still perceive through your heart and be present in it. And yeah, I just saw not.
I will say something about the inclusion, because
Okay.
you see, like, absolute truth is not like, if we only consider it an abstract thing, or like you know, something that's not reach, it's out of reach, then it's not really useful. It's not, we can't really use it in any way. But if we look at love or truth as something that embraces everything,
Mhm.
then we can see that it also heals and transcends everything. So that's how I look at love. It allows all things, it embraces all things, and thus it transforms and heals and transcends all things. So I can, for example, include the body or feelings in the body, rather than trying to reject it, push it away, think in a spiritual false sense that, no, I'm so spiritual, I don't feel anger, I don't feel fear, I don't feel those things.
Right.
No, by embracing those things, I can actually transcend them. I can actually see that they are holy, that there is nothing wrong with anything, that literally nothing can affect me,
Mhm.
because I don't reject anything anymore.
Thank you. That's fantastic. To sum up those traps on the spiritual growth, that was running away into spirituality. I don't know if you mentioned that, but you mentioned sort of, it's piercing through your words, feeling better than anybody else
Mhm.
and trying to convince everybody to your truth and
Mhm.
preach it everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There are so many uh,
trap.
traps that you can we could talk about. Like, even the one that you mentioned, trying to escape, is that was one of the greatest traps that I fell into. Even when I was teaching the course, is I was trying to escape the world of separation, even though I was teaching there is no world, there is no separation, there is only God, there is only love. But still, in the back of my mind, I had the thought there is something wrong with the world. I have to escape it, and my awakening or enlightenment is escaping this suffering, human suffering.
Uh-huh.
But now it's like my path became completely different. Rather than escaping, I kind of come back uh, to what I was trying to escape from. I'm embracing it now. I'm realizing that if I don't embrace it, it will still be haunting me, and I will never, I will never let go of it. I will never. It will still be with me, just rejected, but still within my mind. So just embracing it, and realizing that I am already light. I don't have to reach for light or look for light or escape the bad things or the darkness in order to go to light somewhere else, but realizing that if I'm already light, I can embrace any aspect of darkness
Mm.
within me, because the same as with in a dark room, when we switch on the light, when the light comes, there is no more darkness, so that's how my path changed. And that's how I think their genuine spirituality looks you know looks like, is rather than rejection, rather than escape, rather than
Right.
trying to go somewhere else, is embracing, is unfolding, is transforming what is, and with no judgment, no judgment that my way is better, and when I get enlightenment in another place, in a different time, then it will be better. Why not find enlightenment now? Why not find that light now, even in what I consider to be a bad thing or a dark thing or an unconscious thing? Why couldn't I discover light there? If the light is not there, then there is no light.
So this is what you're telling me. It's a little bit about this concept of everything is within. Whatever we see outside is within us already. The concept of the mirror. Let's talk a little bit more about your path right now. I saw your website, your new website, and there is, maybe it's not that new, it's new for me. There is something like messages from Joshua. Tell me, what is that? The concept of channeling? What's happening now?
Both A Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery, which is another practice that I came across, are channelings. The course, some people maybe would not even call it channeling, but like an internal dictation. But for me, it is a sort of channeling because it was given from the outside source that we call Jesus or Jeshua, and that was given to the person that was completely unaware of the Christian language. There was a Jewish psychologist, atheist, and suddenly something speaks to her and compels her to write, and she's writing this huge book that she ultimately rejected, and she didn't really wanted to have anything to do with at the end. And so that kind of proves for me the authenticity of the message, because it was something coming through her that got put together at the end as an amazing transformational tool. And the similar thing happened with the Way of Mastery. But that was given, the message was given from Jesus through his channel, JM, through audio, like not like in a written form, like in a course, but it was a voice speaking through him. He was giving his body and mind to be used as a channel. And so the messages were given as audios, and then they were put together in a book format that is known as a Way of the Heart, Way of the Transformation, Way of Knowing, and that's and together with other different living practices, they form what is called the Way of Mastery. So this is like a series of channelings from Jeshua, the practice of transformation. And amazing, really amazing, that changed my life and deepened my understanding of the course also, because it's the same voice, Jesus's voice or Jeshua's voice, but speaking a little different tone, a little different language, less the mind. Language of the course was more the language of the mind, and language of the Way of Master is more language of the heart, but still the same voice speaking, Jesus's voice.
To just make sure that people will not go now and channel, because it's pretty fancy. I hear that people would like to learn channeling, some of the people. How do you differentiate which channeling voice? You said a little bit about authenticity, how you looked at it. What could be a trap to believe some channelers or not? How do you differentiate which is proper or higher or
First of all, I would say that all of us are channelers. That kind of demystifies the concepts of channeling, and then we don't have to make such a big deal out of it. It's like we are all channels of the source, and we all channel the source or love through our different filters. So some channels are more clean channels, some are more distorted, because they're filtering it through perception. So depending on how much we allow love to flow through us without this disruption of our perception or judgment, then the more clean the channel is. And the channeling doesn't have to necessarily look as the verbal transmission of some higher being, because that's how it's usually translated. The channeling is another being, either from the cosmos or entity outside of us, is transmitting the message through the human body. But basically, for me, the channeling is channeling the source, channeling God, however you want to call it. And we are all channeling it in different ways, some through voice, some through art, some through song, some through dance, or math or anything. And so if we demystify the channeling in that way, then we don't make out of the channelers an idol that knows something better or is better than us. It's we are all doing it, and that's and then if we tune in and see that voice, that little quiet voice of truth is in our hearts, then our channeling of truth may not look like a spectacular channeling of an entity that speaks through us without our consciousness, but it can look as simple silence or simple few words that we speak from the heart. So, for me, what helps me differentiate what's useful in the channelings that I hear or came across is how it helps me grow and how it resonates with my heart. If it doesn't resonate, then I discard it, and it's like, okay, well, whatever, maybe it works for that person. I don't have to buy into it. I don't have to think this an ultimate truth, but because so and so said so, it's usually the channelings are filtered in some way through our perceptions, so there is I would say it's a cooperation of the entity or whatever speaks through us and us as the channelers. So depending on how open we are to be the clean channels for truth, then the more clear the message can be.
Let's make sure everyone understands, because there are a little bit traps here. And I personally had that when somebody called me because he wanted to channel, and then there was some shadow on his ceiling. What to do?
Mm-hmm.
Is that so safe? Because you actually said that it depends on our intention, our clarity, and our personal growth first before you jump into that channeling, right?
Well, those two people that I mentioned that channeled Joshua, they didn't really have such as great spiritual background or preparation for channeling, but suddenly it started to happen for them. It's really difficult to judge who is the proper good person that could start channeling, but I can speak for myself when I look at different channelings, or I could say it as maybe an advice for someone that would listen to the channelings, that first to look within if it's helpful for me. It doesn't matter what this person says, because we are all channeling anyway. It doesn't, but you're not listening to everyone that says something. I mean, unless you believe so much that the world is telling the truth of you, then you can if you want to, but no one can actually tell the truth about you. So when you hear the channeler, first go within and see, does it resonate? Do I feel that this is my truth, as well? And then if so, then it's okay. Then it's your truth. It's not someone else's truth. It's your truth.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to, use it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can switch off.
Yeah, and go somewhere else, not listen to it, and and then I wouldn't say that it's bad. Mm-hmm. It's just that may work for that person, on their spiritual level, a way of growth. That type of channeling may work, but it's, yes, it may be a trap of making it's really special and thinking that it's outside of me, and that's where when we make magic out of it, or think that it's outside, or make it look as a special thing, then we lose the authenticity, and we lose the core of it, what it is about. It's not about really the outside entity speaking something to us. It's about us speaking the truth. And we can use the help of, I would call a friend out of time, or
All right. Yes.
out being not within the body limitations, but it's still, I would say, part of us. It's not outside. Any being that we channel, even God, that's ultimately the source of all channeling, is not outside of us. So what's the big deal? We're just channeling ourselves after all.
Well said. So, what what message he has for our world right now, considering everything what's happening? What is your message? What would you like to share? Because a lot of people now going through a lot of fear, right? That's the a lot of things happening.
Yes, it's an opportunity. That whole situation with coronavirus and everything that is being made out of it is an opportunity to really see what it is that we want. If we want more fear, the fear was always there, and right now it's just more visible. And because it's more visible, people can really choose if they want to continue the path of fear, or if they want to choose love. And that's so that's why I treat this situation as not as a problem, but as a step to or an opportunity to go more deeper within, and to make that transformational or quantum leap that leads us to out of the three-dimensional 3D world of fear and separation, out into the realm of harmony, of love, peace. Some people call it 5D, but I would call it New Earth, or heaven on earth, or just the self-realization state where we stop blaming, where we stop thinking that the world is the problem, because that all that fear that is created, there are two things going on. One is we are realizing things that were hidden, about the governments, about us, but basically it's our hidden spots. It's not about the problem outside of us. It's really us recognizing, okay, if this affects me, if I feel angry, if I feel fearful, if I feel somehow touched by the situation, the problem is not out there, it is within me. The situation just triggered something in me that needs healing, that calls for healing. So I can be grateful. Oh, okay, thank you, coronavirus. Thank you, government. Thank you, everyone. All those people or things that push my buttons, because thanks to that, I can actually discover what I've hidden, my own unconsciousness. And if I discover it, if I look at it, then it can be healed. If I didn't see it, if I kept it hidden, then it could never be healed. It would just remain unconscious. So realizing our unconsciousness leads to healing, and to go into the state of consciousness of our light.
What's important here, that people who experience fear right now all of us actually, every now and then, you know, the information, the confusion of the information coming from different sources, causing a lot of, I actually had those messages recently that someone told me, if I cannot trust news, I have nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. That's a good point. Have nothing.
Because the ground is completely now out, you know, for some
Yeah.
people. Mm-hmm.
And that's good. That's a fearful
What do
point
you
where you
believe?
can. That's a fearful point where you have not. You seem like you cannot trust anyone. You don't know what to believe. It's like you come to this point, zero point, or the point of unknowing, where you can actually really grow. When you can actually, where this real spiritual journey can begin, where you don't depend on outside sources for information, for spiritual knowledge or truth. You just really go within and you find the truth within yourself. That's an opportunity. Really, this whole situation, even the quarantine or being not being able to go out, actually calls for going more within and not looking for a solution or a problem outside. So I would say that that it's a really good thing that we realize we cannot depend on something outside, and we can realize that all perception is false. It's not that now I have and I'm going to get to choose which of those information is better or better suits me, because that leads to a trap of false being right, thinking, okay, now those bad guys are being punished or will be punished, and then everything will be fine with the world. But love doesn't punish anything. It's just all that we did here in this world was just like a game. And if we realize the game, we realize how the game works, then we can end the game of suffering, end the game of fear. But we have to first realize our full responsibility for it. That it's not outside of us, that we are the cause of it, that we are responsible. And then it's easy. Then if I don't trust my own perception, not only I don't trust something out there, but I don't trust my own perception. I see that all my thoughts are meaningless, all my perceptions are meaningless, which might be fearful for the mind that wants to grasp.
Very much. For some people, what you're saying right now, like don't trust yourself, it's like, then what?
Well, I wouldn't say don't trust yourself, don't trust your perceptions, because perceptions are based on very limited changing things, are changing and therefore are not stable. You cannot really depend on them. One thing is true for you in the morning, the other it's not true in the evening. You change your mind. So I would say that you can trust yourself, but your true self, your inner self, your authentic self, but you have to first find it. And you find it when you let go of all that's false about you, all the perception, all the judgments that you had. And then if you let go of it, then suddenly, even if you go through a moment of fear, oh my God, my whole world is collapsing, what's going to happen? How am I going to survive? If you let go of that fearful self that wants to grasp, hold on to the concepts of itself, suddenly the new shining truth of yourself gets revealed and can shine, and it's beautiful, and it's incredible, and it can actually be revealed right in this world, right in the middle of this world. You know, it's in all of us. That light, that truth, that love is in us, but in order to shine that light, have to let go of what is false, what's not the truth.
Then let's do it.
Yeah.
Sounds very simple, and of course, in everything what's happening, we need some practice of that, and discovering probably those little perceptions that is making us fearful, and probably analyze it or feel it by heart, and however, you know, everyone is approaching it. I think that's enough for today, and if someone would like to learn more about you, please ask more questions, and maybe Rafał will come back And also go to his website. He has a lot of podcasts there, probably also in English language. Do you have it in English language?
I would have to dig deeper because right now I focused in the last years. I focused more on on giving the message in Polish. I used to do some in English. I might have some somewhere on YouTube. I would have to look. But for now, what I would suggest, if someone is interested in what I was saying, there is. If you're attracted to a Course in Miracles, transformational message that, helped me at certain point, there's plenty of information about A Course in Miracles and also the way of mastery. It's available online and in a book format, in audio. So it's really a great tool of transformation that you can start applying and using right now. So. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good enough. So good luck, everyone, on your spiritual growth. And thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.